All right. Hello and welcome everyone to SIGEP Wisconsin Theta's 20-year virtual celebration. I know this is not exactly how we wanted to celebrate this milestone, but through the undergrads' hard work, the alumni volunteer support, we're able to overcome this hurdle as so many others. So far, I'm counting about 20 undergrads and over close to 15 alumni and many other parents and other volunteers on this call today. This shows that the strength of our chapter and Wisconsin Theta as a community is greater than ever before. Tonight, I want to show you what we've been working on to make this milestone memorable for all, in addition to rewarding our undergrads with the annual Virtue, Diligence, Brotherly Love, and Outstanding SIGEP Awards. And we'll also be recognizing those alumni of the last 20 years with the same awards based off of our cardinal principles. To go along with this, we have also assembled a great group of speakers that will be able to reflect on our chapter's proudest moments and SIGEP as a whole. The first thing we want to offer to everyone is this year's special 20-year apparel. It gives you the opportunity to represent our chapter's logo and our milestone on a normal t-shirt or hoodie. Secondly, as normal tradition, we always have glassware for these. We went with a simple glassware this semester, but we want you to be able to enjoy your beverage out of it that brandishes our achievements. These come with your option of a deep red or dark purple colored base representing our organization's colors. Both the apparel and glassware will be available on a link that I'll post shortly in the chat, and they'll be available to purchase until October 25th. Next, we'll be bringing back some things that these SIGEP coins that you older alumni may recognize. The front of these coins branding the fraternity's crest in our national founding year of 1901, but we will also be adding a specialized backing with the Wisconsin Theta logo circled with our cardinal principles. A preliminary order form will also be available in chat very soon if you're interested in getting your very own. This coin will also represent your physical contribution to our Balanced Man Scholarship, as a portion of the funds generated from this will go towards future BMS winners. Before we get to hear from our guest speakers and the winners of some of the awards that we want to announce tonight, we have 4 guest speakers and 8 awards to give out. I want to turn this over to Matthew Timney, the current undergraduate president, for the chapter address.
Good afternoon, brothers, volunteers, family, and guests. Let me begin by giving my sincere appreciation for all of you joining and who have supported our goals during this trying time. This university, community, and chapter are very thankful for all of you. SIGEP has always been known for excellence in standing out on campuses, but that has never been shown more than to the nth degree that is in the current state of the world. We are in unprecedented time in the middle of a worldwide crisis, and not only has the chapter managed to survive, but put in the work to make this chapter thrive during this time. We were able to draft and approve COVID-19 policies, which became the standard to strive for on this university. We were able to quickly switch over to virtual interactions last semester when the university abruptly shut down. This allowed us to maintain connections and have social interactions when getting to meet in person was nearly impossible. When this semester started, the chapter had invested time and money to ensure we could have a successful recruitment and programming semester. With the supplies we had on hand, combined with the creative, out-of-the-box ideas and thinking to alter events to be compliant with CDC guidelines and our own policies, we were one of the few student organizations that were approved by the university to have in-person events. This paid off as we have worked hard and recruited 21 fine gentlemen to join the ranks as lifetime SIGEPs. This has made us the largest fraternity on campus, but we are not happy with having a high quantity of members. We need to maintain the high quality of our membership. This is where our new members show great potential. They are motivated and successful young men who will take SIGEP to the next height. 20 years in the scope of a history is a small time, but for a college fraternity to exist 20 years shows that men are dedicated to the ideals of the fraternity and what we stand for. Today, we will celebrate the accomplishments of the past 20 years and look forward to the future successes this chapter will make for the next 20 years and more. At this time, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Tom Barton, who is the founder and president of Barton Wealth Management. He graduated from Loras College and Iowa Ada in 1989 and has volunteered for SIGEP ever since. He's been named a distinguished alumnus and is one of only 20 brothers to receive the SIGEP National Exemplary Service Award and one of only 18 brothers named a life trustee of the SIGEP National Education Foundation. Currently, Tom chairs the SIGEP National Advancement Council, which spearheads annual giving for the entire national fraternity. He's a past district governor, past chapter counselor at 4 chapters, including Wisconsin Theta twice, and past AVC member at 3 chapters. Tom masterminded and co-founded the SIGEP Nuts McAuliffe Society. The annual giving offices at SIGEP headquarters in Richmond are named after Tom and his wife Barb. Their son Matt is a senior SIGEP brother at Northern Iowa, and his daughter Katie is a Delta Zeta at Iowa. Tom started the Iowa Theta chapter at Northern Iowa in 1992, and more importantly, it was Tom's idea to expand SIGEP to UW-Platteville in 1997. So I'd like to introduce Tom Barton and let him give a few words since he is a very important person in our history.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Appreciate that. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good. You know, first of all, Max, you put together a terrific event, man. There's a lot of moving parts here, so thanks, Max. I think we all appreciate the work that you've done on this. It's great to see that Wisconsin Theta has never ever been stronger. Very rewarding to me. And you've killed it in recruitment, absolutely killed it. And that is the single most important skill I think that we can learn as undergrads in SIGEP is recruitment. So that's great. I'm here to talk about virtue and, of course, virtue, diligence, brotherly love. And we're going to talk about how virtue impacted the founding of Wisconsin Theta, how virtue was a key centerpiece of what we were here to do. Now, John Hartman is our keynote speaker. He's warned me that I better not talk too long because he doesn't want anybody taking any time away from him. So Hartman told me if I go a second over my time that he's going to trade me to, I don't know, trade me to the Teaks for an empty beer keg as long as the tapper comes with it or something. You don't mess with a guy like John Hartman because he invented, true story, John was in on the invention of tater tots and baggies. So you don't mess with John Hartman. So thanks a lot for having me. January of 1997, Bill Clinton was Bill Clinton was president, Al Gore was vice president, and Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House. And in January of 97, some shitty football team from Wisconsin beat my tremendous New England Patriots in what was really a pretty much a butt kicking in the Super Bowl. So I have to acknowledge that. But January of 97 is when it all started. I called headquarters about expanding to Platteville, and there was definitely some interest. There was also some concern because the chapters that we had there at Lawrence, University of Wisconsin at Madison, and Marquette weren't necessarily all that strong all the time up there. Now, Madison had its ups and downs. They won a Buck Cup in there somewhere, so I don't want to make it sound like they were always bad, but there had been some concerns. They had closed about 10 years earlier. We had more closed chapters in Wisconsin than we had open chapters. So that was a concern, but ultimately we talked headquarters into it, and they sent out Craig Snyder. Some of you might remember Craig Snyder, who was the expansion director, and the regional director, Mark Wenrick. And those guys are the ones that really got it off the ground. So we were incepted in January of 97. We had about 12 or 14 guys when we got started. The problem was 2.5 years later, in the fall of, it would have been fall of 99, we had about 12 to 14 members. So we talk about how important recruitment is. And so I lied to the group, and because I did not have the authority to do this, but you know, it worked. I told them that this was it. This is the last semester. If we didn't get chartered after this semester, we were going to be done. And for all I know, that could have been true. I know our chapter president did our colony. They called them colonies back then. The colony president didn't come back to school that fall. So we're sitting at 12 or 14 guys, no president. So we appointed Ryan Vickerman president, and under his leadership and a terrific group of 12 to 14 key guys in the room, the group said, we're going to get chartered. And I'll be darned if half a year later we weren't chartered. So it's a great story. Absolutely great story. Jeff Benson, the Come to Jesus meetings. Oh man, I may still have a good 1 or 2 left in me, Jeff. Those were the good old days. So I observed 5 great acts of virtue as we were created in those early days. And here's what they are real quick. Number 1, the national headquarters has always embraced the concept of this fraternity will be different. That's what our 12 founders at University of Richmond said. We're going to be different. We're not going to be like the other boys clubs on campus. We're going to be different. And that's what Wisconsin Theta has done. And from the get-go, there's been a commitment to not be like the other fraternities on the UW-Platteville campus. And that's very virtuous, to stick to that value and say, no, we're not going to haze. We're not going to do stupid stuff. We're going to respect women. We're going to respect ourselves. We're not just going to be about partying. There's going to be values here. There's going to be virtue. So that's number 1. Number 2, we created a mission statement for the chapter that it should be our national mission statement. Gentlemen united unconditionally in the pursuit of realizing each other's greatest potential. Think about that, guys. You're saying that if you're a SIG up at Platteville, that you are there to make your brothers successful. How awesome is that? You want to talk about virtue, being there to go beyond yourself and impact others, man, that's pretty special stuff. Our third incident of pretty severe virtue was when we decided on our own, because we're such good guys, we were going to do some hotel repairs at the first Carlson Leadership Academy. So, imagine this, bunch of engineers late on a Saturday night. I think it was our first Carlson Leadership Academy, wasn't it, Jeremy? Yeah, I think it was our first one. So the guys are swimming late at night on Saturday night at the hotel. They noticed that one of the lights in the pool was burned out, but it was underwater. Now, a bunch of damn engineers, think about this. They're all in their swimming trunks, but somehow within a matter of instants, after they decided that they were going to make this repair, somehow they came up with a screwdriver, a hammer, a slide ruler, let's see, what else do we have here? Duct tape, pliers, a backhoe, a bulldozer, a dump truck, and to do underwater electrical work. So these guys, they go at it late on a Saturday night doing underwater electrical work on a pool that was full. What could go wrong? Now, my question is, years later here, did we ever actually fix that light, or didn't we, Baker? Did it get fixed? You actually did fix the light. Now, that's some funny stuff right there. Ben Zier probably had all that stuff just in his pocket alone. So that's one of our funny moments. Number 4, January 2000 at the chartering. If you look at our picture of chartering, you're going to notice from a virtue standpoint, who's holding the charter? It's a woman. It's Joan Luth, who became the honorary chapter house mom. And it just goes to show you again, when it comes to virtue, that this chapter wanted to do things the right way. So they embraced Joan and her husband, Irv. We honorarily initiated Irv, and Joan became the house mom. And so even at an early day, we wanted to show that we were different, that we were better, that we had a value system, that we wanted this to feel like a family. So we had a house mom, and we didn't even have a house. But that shows the respect for women that Wisconsin Theta has always had, and the appreciation for volunteers and people to make us good. So that was definitely an example of virtue. And then here's my favorite one, guys, and I will never be able to thank you enough. And that is right after chartering, the SIGEP chapter at Loris ultimately went under. That displaced a legend in SIGEP, Bob McCune, who had been volunteering at Loris for nearly 30 years. So what does Platteville do? Wisconsin Theta calls up Bob and says, Bob, we'd love to have you work with us. And you made Bob the alumni board advisor, or some crazy title. Bob was so dang excited. 74 years young of Bob McCune. He died 6 years later. And that is one of the greatest gestures of demonstrating the values that we claim that we have that I have ever seen in Sigma Phi Epsilon. Bob was my inspiration, my mentor, as he was for many guys in the chapter. And it just really shows that from the get-go, this chapter's been virtuous, that our heads have been screwed on straight. It's just an amazing story. In fact, 6-7 years later after that, Bob McCune died 2008, and our Wisconsin Theta guys came out in force to Bob's funeral and visitation, and you guys did the red rose ceremony for Bob. So guys, I could talk all night, but I have Hartman barking at me, so I'm not going to do that. I am actually within my time guidelines right now, which is a miracle, but I just want to let everybody know one more time how virtue has truly been one of the cornerstones for Wisconsin Theta. Love you guys.
Thank you, Tom, for that wonderful discussion on what it means to have virtue within our chapter and not only SIGEP as a whole. Tonight, it is my honor as the current chaplain of the undergraduate chapter to present the awards for our cardinal principles. The cardinal principles on which our fraternity is based are virtue, diligence, and brotherly love. These three principles may seem abstract, but they translate simply and clearly into behaviors and actions that make up a balanced man. Tonight, the undergraduate chapter will honor the members, both past and present, that best exemplify these traits. These award winners were voted on and nominated by the collective undergraduate chapter and ABC. Our first principle, virtue, is defined in the LROB as to behave with decency as befits the day, to be actively honest, and to live with integrity. The undergraduate award winner is Brother Maxwell Sagan, and the alumni award winner is Brother Eugene Worley. Brother Sagan, in these ever-changing times, you have risen to the call of your vice presidency and have gone above and beyond. Your commitment to continuing our brothers' development while keeping them safe is impeccable. When it comes to your personal life outside of the chapter, you are open, honest, and respected, and we are truly honored to have you be our vice president during these trying and challenging times. Brother Worley, when the undergraduate chapter is in need, you are simply a phone call away. From your position in law enforcement and trustworthiness, you have won this award for being a brother that doesn't know how to do wrong. In your personal life and within the undergraduate chapter, you are known for your trueness, honesty, and ability to see and do the right thing no matter what. Brother Sagan or Brother Worley, is there anything you would like to say upon receiving this award?
Thank you, Ubel. I'm honored. At this time, I have nothing to say, though, other than I appreciate all of you, and I'm very honored.
Thank you very much, Max. I'd now like to introduce Brother Jeremy Baker, who will speak on the achievements of our chapter. Brother Baker is a founding father, Scroll 12 for our chapter, and a large reason why we're here today. During his undergraduate career, Brother Baker was highly involved on campus and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with emphasis in computer science and sales and marketing. Today, he is currently a customer service supervisor for We Energies in Wisconsin Rapids and the current president of our Wisconsin Theta Alumni and Volunteer Corporation. Brother Baker, over to you.
All right, thank you, Brother Ubel. It's a great honor to be speaking with all of you. Who would have thought 20 years ago that we would be here? As the ABC president, it's been an exciting couple of years. I've been with the undergrad, working with the undergrads and the ABC for 3 years now, a little over a year and a half as president. And I've gotten to meet a lot of undergraduates, potential new members, SIGEP sweethearts from over the years, parents, volunteers, alumni, as well as some faculty and staff at Platteville. And I'd just like to say, first off, thank you to everything that you all do for helping the Wisconsin Theta chapter. Your contributions to this fraternity are truly appreciated. The support network that we have in place is truly first class. And we definitely dedicate a lot of time, and there's a lot of energy and resources that go into this to strengthen the chapter and the ABC itself as well. I was asked to talk to you this evening about how the chapter has grown and developed over the past 2 decades and the influences that our cardinal principle diligence has had on our chapter and really on our lives. As you heard, Brother Barton headquarters came to Platteville in the spring of '97, and they selected 12 outstanding individuals. I just want to read their names to you. Ryan Vickerman, Eric Twerberg, Ryan Ruderskold, Derek Dachelet, Mark Young, Ben Zier, Brian Dubas, Matthew Smith, Todd Kirkpatrick, and Jason Grimes. Reading these names still gives me goosebumps to this day, and I'm sure it gives to many of you as well. If you take away one thing from this evening, just remember those 12 names. As Barton said, they crafted our mission, and to me, these guys are the original 12 Wisconsin Theta legends. As you heard, I am scroll number 12. I'll say I joined at Wisconsin Theta August 30th, 1997. And I was actually begging Ryan Vickerman to join since I read the LROB back in, I think, March or April when he got it. And I was the first person actually recruited by Wisconsin Theta. Jason Grimes had stepped away from the chapter that year that I had joined. And I remember that day pretty clearly. We were all sitting around the fire pit in the backyard of Todd Kirkpatrick's parents' house, talking about our next steps. And we talked about how we wanted to take on, or maybe back then it was even take over the Platteville campus and the Greek community. We talked about leading many of the campus organizations, obtaining our first SIGEP house, getting our charter and winning that damn Buck Cup. We never did win that Buck Cup yet, but we had big dreams, and we did not have many resources available to us. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have money. We didn't have a house. We didn't have alumni, but we had Tom Barton and we had our faculty advisor, Bill Matthews. And getting to 40 guys seemed like an impossible feat. At times it was hard. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of energy. It took a lot of work and a lot of dedication. We all had to jump in that boat together, and we had to paddle. When one person got tired or stressed out or ran out of ideas or just needed to be simply lifted back up, there was someone always in that group to help out. What it took to create this chapter and keep this chapter going over the years has been diligence. Our creed tells us that unless I succeed at being diligent, I cannot be a good fraternity member. Diligent behavior is symbolic to strong work ethic and a belief that work is good in itself. Diligence is careful and persistent work effort. Our members needed to be steady, earnest, and put forth energetic effort. We needed to be devoted at times and willing to put forth painstaking work to accomplish that. If anyone did the car washes for money for keeping us going for a few years, you know what painstaking in the fall in Wisconsin is with car washes. Our diligence drove us to taking advantage of any and every opportunity, not only to better our chapter, but ourselves. We had to strive for excellence in everything we do. And we were told we had to be the best. Sure, we had downfalls, we had setbacks. Our retention some years, not fantastic. We didn't hit our marks every year on recruitment. Over the years, some of those things have plagued us, right? And we've always gotten back up. We would get exhausted and stressed out and sometimes doubt if we really could even make it work, if we can make it work now. But what set us apart from the rest of the on campus is that we never stopped believing that we could get this chapter created and going and keep going at UW-Platteville. Sometimes when we needed that little extra encouragement, Jeff said it best, Tom Barton would come and give his come to Jesus meetings. And Tom could often be telling us, I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. He taught us recruitment, professional and personal skills. Many of these skills I use today in my professional and personal lives. He encourages us to think differently, act differently, erase those animal house stereotypes, and he encouraged us to be the best. Wisconsin Theta has had many student government positions as members and presidents of Student Senate, SUFAC, and Greek Council over the years. Over the past 23 years, we have led nearly every organization on campus. We've had RAs and homecoming kings. Every year we've led or been near the top on campus for GPAs, homecomings, intramurals, recruitment, chapter size, chapter engagement, event planning, and community service. We further developed our skill sets at executive and chapter retreats, Carlson, and Conclave Leadership Academies. This chapter and its members have received a lot of awards. If you don't believe that, go look in the SLA someday or walk around campus and check out Ellswick Hall. So Tom Barton said numerous times that Wisconsin Theta is the best SIGEP chapter in the nation that hasn't won a Buck Cup. And Tom knows that rubs me. Tom's quote has to encourage us, though, that we're not done growing and we're not done improving. I can't wait for Tom Barton to eat his words someday and say, Wisconsin Theta is the best SIGEP chapter in the nation. Like many of you, when I came to Platteville, I didn't really have a true direction. I was a hard worker, like a lot of us were. I didn't really know how to apply those skills yet to what I've learned in life. I didn't really have any goals. I didn't really know where I fit in college. I didn't come to college to join a fraternity, honestly. My parents, a lot like a lot of you, they weren't really excited for me to join a fraternity. My parents had watched Animal House. That was a big hard pass for them. But for me, as well as many of you, they no longer think that way. Being a member of this fraternity has made us who we are. SIGEP has made us all balanced men. The most important trait, the trait that has gotten me through my professional and personal life, is diligence. That trait is always what's really made Wisconsin Theta the greatest and largest fraternity on campus. Looking back now, the part of the creation of Wisconsin Theta for me, that was my greatest personal success at Platteville and one of the greatest in my life. Wisconsin Theta chapter and the ABC at Platteville are strong. We have over 380 men that have been part of this fraternity. This chapter is currently hitting on all cylinders. As an organization, there's a lot of exciting new things ahead for us. We must remember our past, our principles, and continue to blaze a new path ahead of us. So I challenge all of you to do everything you can to go out and live life to its fullest. Represent this fraternity and all that it stands for every day. Realize and pursue your greatest personal potentials and positively impact other people's lives. Since there's a lot of plagiarizing going on the internet, I'm going to plagiarize the national founding story and how it applies to UW-Platteville. And it would sound something like this. We started here at Alsvik Center at the UW-Platteville campus, where 12 men gathered. They were seeking brotherhood in the pursuit of lofty ideas, virtual, diligence, and brotherly love. They promised a different fraternity on campus. Since our founding, more than 380 men have been welcomed through the red doors. Each has played a role in building what we celebrate today. We continue to deliver on that promise made 23 years ago in Platteville. By being a valued partner in higher education, by offering the most innovative programs in the fraternity world, by holding each other to a higher standard, by building balanced men, and the world's next generation of value-based leaders. We were different then, and we are different now. And we will continue to innovate, to challenge the status quo, because for Wisconsin Theta, good is never good enough. What we do is most and more necessary than ever before. So let's stand tall and commit to an even brighter future. We've modeled the way for the last 23 years at Platteville, and we're only getting started. Happy Founders Day, Wisconsin Theta. Now let's go get that butt cup.
Thank you, Brother Baker, for that wonderful speech. It is now my honor to give out the Diligence Awards for the alumni and undergraduate representatives. The LROB describes the fraternity's second principle, diligence, as avoiding laziness, working hard in and out of school, and striving for excellence in all endeavors. The well-deserving winners of these awards are Jacob Ubel for the undergraduate chapter, and as I would hope you could all expect, Jeremy Baker, who just gave a wonderful speech about diligence for the alumni. Brother Ubel, you are deserving of this award. You are the embodiment of the phrase, work hard, play hard, because you strive for excellence in all endeavors. The work you put in to ensure our chapter was safe during the pandemic was definitely above and beyond what was expected of you. Your work on academics and how well it has placed you is definitely showed, because you're one of the top of our academics, and that is with us having above a 3.5 cumulative GPA for the chapter last semester. Brother Baker, your hard work leading the AVC has not gone unnoticed. We appreciate your willingness to put in so much effort to make sure that the AVC and undergraduate chapter can work together to achieve great things together. You were always there to help us out during this year, even if it was just discuss ideas and how to implement them. Thank you for always putting so much work in for this year as well as the past 20 years to see this chapter succeed. If either of you would have anything to say, feel free to do so.
Thank you very much, Brother Nye. I'd like to say that the only reason I've won this award today is because of the work put in by our current undergraduate chapter. All the work we've done to become the standard of health, safety, and success on this campus is truly a testament to the support structure of brothers that have allowed our current undergraduate chapter leaders to achieve the level of success we are being honored with here today. I'm truly honored, and thank you all for allowing me to be a part of your family, your brotherhood, and your lifetimes.
I just want to thank all of you for voting for me and recognizing the hard work. The hard work that I do, though, is because of the undergraduate chapter and really who drives me. So we all need people to drive us. When I was an undergrad, you guys know it was Tom Barton. He rode my ass, and that was good, and because I needed it. And now the undergrads are there, and that's my role is to make sure that we're hitting on those cylinders. And when I see the recruitment numbers go up, or I see the response to our COVID plans or our event planning or the Balanced Man stuff, it just drives me to do more and want to do more for the chapter. So I really do appreciate the undergrads, and you guys know that. I tell you that almost every day I talk to you is you guys are why I do it. So thank you.
Again, congratulations to both of you. It is now my honor to announce the third speaker for tonight, Brother Chef TV. He's graduated with a degree in culinary arts from the prestigious Culinary Institute of America in 1988. Located in Hyde Park, New York, the CIA is considered by many to be the Harvard of cooking school. John has the opportunity to work alongside such notable culinary icons as Julia Child, Jacques Pepin, Emeril Lagasse, Charlie Trotter, and master pastry chef Jacques Torres, and to participate in many special events such as the Dinner of the Decade in Philadelphia, President Clinton's second inaugural dinner, and Julie Child's 80th birthday celebration, along with many other special events at venues such as the James Beard House in New York City. Chef John is a member of the American Culinary Federation and the International Association of Culinary Professionals, and attended many continuing education programs at the Culinary Institute of America's Greystone campus. Chef John also, most importantly to us, is a Renaissance brother of the Wisconsin Theta chapter. He remains highly involved with the chapter by constantly being around to help out on random cooking ventures that members embark on, giving cooking lessons to the chapter, and recently accepting the role of the chapter advisor. Chef John, along with his faithful canines, Bingo and Blue, are integral members to the chapter and make the experience more enjoyable for all. I now turn it over to you, Chef John. Chef John, you're muted.
Oh, we were almost there.
Max, just ask him to unmute. Since you're the host, you can do that.
Hello?
Yeah, we can
Hear you now.
All right. So I consider myself the luckiest person in this whole group because I got to join a fraternity when I was 50 years old. I know it's very unusual, and I thought that that opportunity had passed me by. I'd always wanted to join a fraternity when I was younger, but the opportunity never presented itself. As my path brought me through my career and ending up here in Platteville, very unexpectedly, it turned out to be a very fortuitous change for me because I got to meet a lot of really interesting and enthusiastic students. And I was presented with some opportunities to work with some of these guys. I met Jay Oren and Aaron Victor, who invited me to prepare a meal for their etiquette dinner, which apparently they had been serving corn dogs and potato chips previously, and I jumped at the chance to do that. And it was a great event and a great opportunity for me, and I got to be fast friends with these guys. Since my mother had told me when I was young that the only way I was going to make any friends was by feeding people, I jump at any chance that I have to do things like that. As I had developed my relationship with these guys, our conversations inevitably turned to food, and we started talking about our favorite meals. And I get asked very frequently what my favorite meal is, and I just casually mentioned that I'd always wanted to cook a whole lamb. And the next thing I knew, the guys were asking me, when did we want to do that? And so we did it the first time, and I love traditions, and I love that that meal has become a sort of a homecoming tradition now, and I hope that it grows. I really enjoy doing a lot of these events with the guys, the cooking events. We've been doing Zoom cooking classes since the pandemic has been going on, and that's been a whole lot of fun. But moving on from being the fun food guy, I started learning that this organization was not, as Jeremy said, the animal house like I had expected, that these guys were like really serious. I remember one time I had been at work unusually late because we were cooking pancakes for the chancellor at midnight or something. And I thought, well, while I'm up, I'm going to swing by the house. And I walked in there at midnight on a Saturday night, and they were all studying. And I was like, what are you guys doing? This is no fraternity house. But it just goes to show, that this was a very unexpected thing. And these guys really take this organization seriously. um, socially, academically, and community-wise. I think that it was great luck on my part that I happened to step into what is truly the best fraternity on campus. And also, when we go to recruitment events, I started telling people that, Sig Ep is the only fraternity on campus that has its own chef. But the guys get mad at me and tell me not to keep telling people that, especially the part about when I say that I live in the attic. But on the subject of brotherly love, after cooking, one of my other favorite things to do is to play with words. I love thinking about words and the different meanings that they have. I have vivid memory of being in the house for my interview to decide whether I was good enough to join this group or not, and being asked about how I would define brotherly love. And it seems like a simple concept, but when you're asked to define it, you have to search for some words to do that. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and it can have a lot of different meanings. Obviously, literally, I am a brother. I'm the youngest of 3 brothers in my family, and that relationship is like no other. The bond of family brothers is completely unbreakable. Your family is the ones that they have to take care of you no matter what, and that relationship is very, very strong. When you start thinking about it within the bounds of this organization, it takes on a broader meaning, which I see more and more of all the time. How fantastic is it to have a built-in support system for so many different things? I see the guys helping each other studying. I see them giving each other advice about social situations, and these relationships are very strong. And you think about beyond that where can it go from there? When you talk about who's my brother, obviously we consider ourselves all brothers, but then where does it stop? You can, when you really think about it, then you can consider everyone your brother. And it becomes especially important now in what's happening in our society, to have a broader definition of these kinds of ideas when there's so much friction in our society, and to think about everyone that we coexist with, in a sense like that, like as a brother. So that's sort of what I'd like to leave you with, is the idea of when you say who's my brother, and bring it out to more things, and say really who's not my brother, and how can I be a positive force in someone else's life? How can I help my community? How can I make the world a better place by considering everybody your brother? I guess that's where I'd like to leave that thought with you.
Well, thank you, Chef John, for that heartwarming, caring, and truly unique speech. We are grateful to have you, and we are truly honored that you chose us to be a part of, and that we could make your lifelong dream of being in a fraternity come through. Tonight, the 3rd award we will be giving out is for brotherly love. Brotherly love is defined in the LROB as to be ever mindful of others, to help those in need, and to be a true friend. Tonight, the undergraduate award winner is Brother Dominic Perry, and the alumni award winner is Brother Austin Dye. Brother Perry, there is not a day that goes by you don't ask brothers how they're doing. Almost to a fault, you will put the well-being of your brothers over your own, and we are all better off for it. To sum you up in 3 words would be selfless, caring, and compassionate. Brother Dye, your skillful utilization of your degree and willingness to have tough conversations has made you a go-to brother for support amongst the undergraduate chapter. No matter what time of day or what problems we face, you are always welcoming and willing to listen. To sum you up in 3 words would be loving, understanding, and dependable. Brother Perry or Brother Dye, is there anything you'd like to say at this time? All right. I'd now like to hand it back over to our Vice President of Programming, earlier winner of the Virtue Award, and tonight's Master of Ceremonies, Brother Maxwell Sagan.
Thank you, Abel. Before we continue any further, I really do want to thank all of you for your continued support and being here tonight. Looking at the challenge coins and the apparel and glassware, I've noticed an influx in the continued support to buy those things for our chapter, and the challenge coins are 20 have already been interested in buying. So thank you all, and especially a big thank you for giving me Virtue as well. I am so happy to see this event coming together and running so smoothly. It is now my honor to introduce the keynote speaker of the night. This man graduated from University of Missouri in 1961 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Over the past 50 years, he has functioned as a key decision maker in marketing and sales with world leader consumer product manufacturers, including Anheuser-Busch, Hunt Weston, Ore-Ida Foods, Dow Chemical, and Ralston Purina. He was instrumental in the development of consumer brands such as Ore-Ida frozen potatoes, Ziploc food storage bags, and El Chorrito Mexican foods. See, Tom Barton knows his history. As a SIGEP, he was district governor of Missouri, Ohio, and California. Served on the National Board of Directors for 10 years and as the Grand President from 1977 to 1979. He received our highest honor, the Order of the Golden Heart, in 1979, and in 2015 received the North American Interfraternity Council Silver Medal for his outstanding contributions, not just to SIGEP, but for the entire fraternity community as a whole. In 1998, he founded the Ruck Leadership Institute, a program which many of our current undergrads are attending right now, and he currently serves as the AVC boards on the AVC boards for Missouri Alpha, the University of Missouri, and Missouri Beta, Washington University, St. Louis. Please welcome past Grand Chapter President and Order of the Golden Heart recipient, John Hartman.
I have hopefully unmuted myself. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Oh, I first, it's been very inspiring to listen to, Tom, to John, and to Jeremy, and to learn the path that in 20 years, the accomplishments of your great chapter, and look forward to that day when it's announced that Wisconsin Theta is a recipient of the Buchanan Cup. And I thank you for allowing me to share this occasion with you. A lot of it's interesting in that so many concepts of fraternalism, of SIGEP and everything were covered in the comments and in things by John and Jeremy and Tom and the awards, which were very, very impressive. This time, we're in some very difficult times. And I would first like to congratulate you on your ability to handle the situations that we find ourselves in, and find ways to continue our good work and continue making SIGEP a very meaningful experience for young men in the light of adversity. The other night when we were sort of together, Max sort of threw out, and I picked up on a great word. I like words, and picked up on the word innovation. And certainly your chapter has been an innovator, leading the way on your campus to what fraternity should be about and overcoming the obstacle of what it's not about. So where does innovation start, and what are the elements? Do we just say, oh, I'm going to innovate and go out and start innovating? It's not quite that simple. And I'd like to just take a few minutes to maybe give some of my ideas on innovation, both within the context of SIGEP and outside of the context of SIGEP. I've always viewed life, and this comes from going through a ritual of my fraternity. I've viewed life as a journey, a path that we tread daily, sometimes in the sunlight of joy and happiness, and sometimes beset with sorrow and misfortune. And that's followed me, and I've thought a lot about it, and my path has been a good one. There's always roadblocks, there's always obstacles. But I look at the path as three ways. One, it's a path. You can just keep walking down that path. On the other side of the path are mountains. And the choice is, are you going to climb the mountains and be an innovator, or are you going to just keep walking down that path? And when we celebrate anniversaries and things, it's always easy to get caught up in where we're at, what we've done, and instead we need to look at where are we going, what do we want to be, both as a person and as an organization. I like poems a lot, and I have a jury-rig teleprompter here that is working much better than the first talk that I gave, but probably some of you have experienced the poem by Robert Frost of The Road Not Traveled. And I think that's an important part of innovation. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has meant all the difference. What makes the road towards innovation solid? Taking the path less traveled. It's easy just to keep doing the same thing. The Greeks, Tom, I was on the first quest to Greece in 20 years ago, I believe. And then I think Tom has been on it, and a very, very meaningful, one of my most meaningful experiences. The Greeks sort of look at things in a way that's been a foundation. Obviously, it's the foundation of our balanced man concept and ideals. And it's dependent upon achieving harmony and balance. Plato taught that happiness depends, and happiness is another key word. Sometimes we overlook it, but life is only successful when we feel good about ourselves and when we're happy. Plato taught that happiness depends on several key virtues. We've talked about some virtues. He had 5 important words: courage, moderation, purity, wisdom, patience. So that as we proceed down the journey, we need roadmaps to innovation. And the previous speakers have put the importance on some of those things, which are principles, our principles and personal principles and our fraternity's principles. Several years ago, I had the honor of being in Kansas City for a momentous SIGEP occasion. As most of you, I hope, know, Dr. Naismith, the inventor of basketball, was a SIGEP at the Renaissance Brother at the, and being from Mizzou, it's hard for me to talk about the KU chapter, but credit is due. They, in honor to honor Dr. Naismith, they came up with an award which they wanted to give to prestigious people that have made great contributions to the game of basketball. And it was called the Peach Basket Award because Dr. Naismith, when he invented basketball, hung 2 peach baskets at the end of the gymnasium. And I don't know whether it was a soccer ball or a volleyball, but came up with this game to throw the ball through the peach baskets. So hence they started the Peach Basket Award. And the first recipient of that was Coach John Wooden, the most winning NCAA coach in the history of the game of intercollegiate basketball. And it was my pleasure to sit between Coach Wooden and his wife at this dinner honoring him. It came time to present the award. Graciously, the award was presented. Graciously, Coach Wooden received the award. And then he just sort of paused and he said, well, I've done some research on you SIGEPs, and I know something about you. And he said, you stand for 3 things: virtue, diligence, and brotherly love. He said, if you really embrace that in your life, if you believe it and you live your life by those principles, there's not much more to be said. And he sat down. By the way, Coach Wooden was a beta. A more simplified version, Lou Holtz, when he was at Notre Dame, gave a speech at Gonzaga, a graduation speech. And he wasn't a SIGEP either. But I think sometimes it's interesting to look at what people outside of our fraternity, how they embrace what our principles are. In this speech, he said 3 things. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? What are the deterrents to innovation? Max is probably well familiar with my preoccupation with being in the box. But if we look at organizations, we look at fraternities, we look at ourselves, we get caught up in a box. Tradition, great word, but sometimes misused. We've always done it that way. Why change? Just keep going straight down the path. Don't look at the mountains that are yet to be climbed. Complacency. Yeah, we've just done it, Why get out, do something else? And I'm sure that, in the last one that I think is most important is that we fear change. And change is such a good thing. Don't we need some change right now? So normally we have an exercise where everybody would sort of get down on the floor and we would blow the top off of the box and get out of it. So we're out of the box. What are the things that we need to consider once we're out of the box? There was an adjective in there about getting out of the box, which since this is being recorded, I won't use it. But anyway, courage. Courage is an interesting thing. It takes a lot of guts to have courage. But we're not going to be successful unless we have it. And certainly over your 20 years, you guys have shown a lot of courage in building the outstanding chapter of SIGEP that you've built. Commitment to change. Aren't we often afraid of change? But when we make something good happen and we change something, we are a happy person. And again, that word happiness comes back into play. Passion. If we're not passionate about something, it's very hard to make something happen. So those are the most key elements. Those are mine. So think about some things that keep you in the box and some things that help you get out of the box. And certainly in 20 years, you've spent more time out of the box than you've had in the box. Along this journey, along life, down the path, the straight path, are we just going to cruise along? We're going to slide down the slippery slope, or are we going to climb mountains? What does it take to climb mountains? It takes a team. I think it's very well back to my fascination about poets that describes what my feelings are about SIGEP very well. His name's Edward Markham. And he wrote a poem and it goes, "There is a destiny that makes us brothers. None walks his way alone. What we put into the lives of others comes back into our own." So think about that. If we can't, our cardinal principles, and the thing that Brother Jack Wheeler, who was the grand president before I was, he often talked about brotherhood and brotherly. And his point was that our cardinal principle, our third cardinal principle, is not brotherhood. Groups talk about their tight brotherhood. SIGEPs talk about brotherly love and the love and the passion that we have for each other and the desire that we want to be a better person, but we only can be a better person if we love our brothers and we love ourselves. So remember that it's important. I'm almost Barton. I thank Tom for, the first time he's listened to me. I'm not using up my time, but, innovation. And I guess I'm very proud to be part of this organization, which I graduated in 1961 in January, but I became a SIGEP in September of 1955. So, without using your calculators, I've been around SIGEP for a long time. I don't know why, Matt, I guess I left it out, but at one point I was the district governor for Wisconsin, when I lived in Chicago. But, we don't have time to go over all the innovations that SIGEP has put forth since 1901. But I think there's a couple of key ones that we need to focus in on. And yes, Tom, we had 12 founders, but in the very beginning, there were only 6 people in the group. So those 6 people said, we can't make this work with 6. So they innovated. Well, if we each went out and found one other person, we would have 12. And 12 was really a good starting point. So hence we have 12 founders of SIGEP. Since its founding, we have been an innovator, and we're sort of viewed as one of those Johnny-come-lately fraternities that was founded in the early 1900s. Some of our firsts are traveling staff. If you really think about it, we have in the fraternity world and in organizational, we have a truly outstanding professional staff that works to support our efforts. And I think someone alluded to that earlier, that someone came out from the headquarters to help get Wisconsin Theta started. And that's still happening today. The depth of our staff and the encouragement and guidance that they have been able to give to our fraternity, both to the alumni side and to the undergraduate side, it's not equaled by anybody else. Innovations. 1961, my second grand chapter conclave that I attended. I had graduated from school. I was, starting to climb up the corporate ladder. And one of my hobbies was racing sailboats. And in August of 1961, I was headed to Lake Geneva to be in a sailboat race. And I had met Bedford Black earlier, and at a forerunner of our Carlson's, a district leadership school. And he said, "You got to come to the conclave." Oh yeah, I'll come to the conclave. So that I'm driving up to Lake Geneva. I have to go through Chicago. Conclave was at the Drake Hotel. And I'll just stop in and say hello to Bedford and be on my way and race sailboats. So the next thing I know, when you're driving a long time from St. Louis to Chicago, you have to use the facilities. And I'm standing in the facilities, and who's standing next to me but Bedford? And the next thing I know, I'm the delegate from the defunct St. Louis Alumni Association. And then I'm sitting out there in the audience, and we're now going to announce our new district governors. That's interesting. We haven't had a district governor in Missouri for quite a while. So, we'd like to introduce John Hartman, our new district governor from Missouri. That's me. The important thing about that conclave was that it was a recodification of our bylaws, where we went from the executive committee, which was pretty much self-perpetuating on a national level, to the open democracy that we have today, where all of our chapters participate in the election of a board of directors that serve for 6 years, and with 3 undergraduate directors serving for 2 years, a president and a treasurer, and they select a secretary. So other fraternities, God, what are you guys doing? Turning your fraternity over to the undergraduates? But I think that move triggered a move that helped set SIGEP on the path to being the leading fraternity that it is today. Bedford, in his acceptance speech, said, we would like to think that we are the #1 fraternity. You guys have the privilege of knowing you are the #1 fraternity at Platteville. We'd like to think we were, but we're really not. We're sort of in the middle of the pack. And he said that, but if we want to be, we can be. And he said, if it is to be, it's up to me. And that room was filled with a bunch of people that took that challenge. And I guess one of the highlights of being Grand President was, in all honesty, when I stepped down, I was able to say, SIGEP is now the #1 national college fraternity. And that was in 1979, and we have maintained that since. The last innovation goes back to the Vietnam era, when all other fraternities were digging their heads into the sand, knowing the storm would pass. But SIGEP, we got out there and we said, what do we need to do? I was on the board. Ed Zollinger was president. Ed Zollinger taught me and everybody so much about the IBM philosophy of the devil's advocate. Always ask why. Why are we doing it? Simon Sinek has made a living on the why. But we got in our cars. He said, we're going to go out, we're going to talk to people, we're going to find the common ground, and that's going to make the difference. And we started the leadership program, the Carlsons and everything. I'm talking too long, but my role in that was that I was assigned to Wisconsin Alpha. I drive up to Wisconsin Alpha, go in, and here half of the chapter are in starched, button-down Oxford cloth shirts and khaki pants. The other half are in tie-dyed shirts and lucky to have pants on. The people were raising wallabies in their rooms, rabbits in their rooms. One of the brothers was camped out in the backyard with the charter hanging on a tree. But we started talking, we started communicating, and we came together in the early days of the Carlson and started exploring. And so that when the other fraternities came around, we were far ahead and moving forward. So that's probably, one of the outstanding things is the development of our leadership program. And I guess, if there's something, I am very passionate about SIGEP, but I'm very, very passionate about the Ruck Leadership Institute, where we've been able to reach so many undergraduate brothers and inspire their visions for their lives and their ability to lead and influence other people. In these difficult times, we need innovation more than we ever have. And let's not be afraid of it. Let's continue to do the things you're doing. Let's get out of the box and once again take the lead in making good things happen. I'll end with another favorite poem by Emerson. And he says that this time, like all times, is a good time if we only know what to do with it. I thank you all very much, and it's my pleasure to be with you and help in this celebration.
Brother Hartman, thank you so much for that wonderful, memorable speech and everything you've done in your career and your history for SIGEP. It is truly an honor to have you here tonight. And as a chapter, I cannot express to you how much it means to us to have you here. The final award for the evening is the culmination of the previous awards. This award, Outstanding SIGEP, is given to the brother who exemplifies what it means to be a SIGEP and is the perfect example of all of our cardinal principles. The undergraduate award winner is Brother Matthew Nye, and the alumni award winner is Brother Nick Kirby. Brother Kirby, your commitment to not only bettering yourself, but also our chapter has been invaluable and never ending. Having served as our chapter counselor for several years, you steered our chapter to make the right decision at every turn. We can truly say our chapter would not be in the place we're in today without you. Brother Kirby is unfortunately not with us tonight to give his thank you remarks. As Brother Nye is our next speaker, I would like to introduce him and say that as the president of our chapter, this award is a testament to your term and personality. During the trying times we faced and the times ahead, there's no one we'd rather have leading our chapter than you. You have been and truly are a historical, pivotal, and influential president in our SIGEP career. Brother Nye.
Thank you very much for your kind words. I will say, while I did not expect when I ran for president to be dealing with everything that's going on currently, it has been one of the most interesting and eventful experiences of my life. And I'm glad I got to do it with all of you. I would have never wanted to do this with anyone else. For some final thoughts for the evening, I want to thank all of you for coming to this year. I understand that this is not obviously how we wanted our 20th year anniversary to turn out, but it's still great to see so many faces of friends and family. Family is really what we all are. We're bound together by something that's greater than blood, and that's a really cool experience. We've always tried to keep up with the great traditions of the past, but there is one tradition that we hopefully see fading away, and that tradition is, like Baker said, Barton has always said that we are Wisconsin Theta is the best SIGEP chapter to have never won the Buck Cup. And hopefully by the end of next year, we will have a Buchanan Cup that can sit in the house that we are currently looking at. It would be a great honor for us to be able to win a Buck Cup and then place it in a brand new house that we have. So here's going strong for that. And I will thank you all for your continued support as we try to carry the torch on from where you guys handed it off to us. And hopefully we can hand it on to the next generation that can carry it to even greater and newer heights, places that we've never been before. And it's only possible to the support we've received from all of you. Thank you, everyone.
I want to thank Brother Nye and Brother Ubel for helping me organize this today. And I especially want to thank the 4 speakers we had and the lessons that they have taught us here today that we can take with us moving forward. With that in mind, this will now conclude the virtual 20-year celebration for Wisconsin Theta.